I grew up poor. I never had what everybody else could have. But I remember a teacher telling me that, Philip, some people are so poor that all they have is money. And so I remember growing up and my father teaching me about faith. That faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I remember my father telling me stories of when one or two are gathered together, there is power. And I remember the stories of old, and so today I've come to tell you all a little bit of a story. It's the story of a country called America. It's the story of a house built on the backs of slaves, fortified by years of labor, by the lesser of these, the least of these, the forgotten, the invisible, the marginalized, the criminalized. And the house of America is always in need of renovation. And every few decades, there comes a generation that walks into the house of America and says there's a hole in the roof. And every few generations, there's a group of Americans who came into the house of promise and says that I can't quite see the vision out of the windows in the house of America. And every few years, even 40 years ago, a generation came forward and said that the house of America smelled of the stench and the sewage of racism. And so it was 40 years ago that a generation of Americans, black, white, Latino, Jew, Palestinian, Mexican, gay, straight, came together in the biggest renovation project America had ever seen. And they patched that roof. And they fixed that toilet. And they cleaned out those windows so we could truly see the vision of a better America. They fixed the creaky stair and the banister so that it didn't lead up to a glass ceiling, but one that led up to the roof. And sadly enough, after lemonade was had and iced tea was shared, we moved back into the house. And for the next 30 years, anybody that came into our house and said, it looks like the roof is leaking again, they were sent into the basement. And anybody that came into the house and said that the kitchen doesn't smell of hope and prosperity anymore, there's hate and venom coming from the kitchen, they were sent to the basement.
They were.
And anybody that sought to come into the house of America but had to come through the back door, they were met with hate and sent directly to the basement. And so we've come here, not as black, not as brown, not as white, not as gay, not as straight, but as Americans. Because for far too long we've lived in the basement. And for the past 11 days I've been with my brothers and sisters who have come from the bottom, come from the basement and decided we're going to sleep on the floor. We've decided to wait and to petition our lawmakers to help fix this house. Come flip this house. And so we've come to ask everyone here, Democrat or Republican, to put on your tool belt. Because the roof of racism needs fixing. It's leaking, and the leaky faucet of the school to prison pipeline is starting to flood our bathroom. And our front lawn is soured by racial profiling. In our dining room, the discourse is hate to hate. There's no love to be found around our kitchen table. And so we've come not to ask for a contractor, because young people today know that America is a do-it-yourself project. And the only people that can fix this house are the people that started from the bottom. The only people that can fix this house are the people that lay on the floor in the state house. rises up next door to the room of North Carolina where they rise up every Moral Monday. And in that house you'll even find the crying faces of black boys from Chicago, Illinois, ready to rise up. And so today we've come together in the biggest Habitat for Humanity project this world has ever seen. So we asked the governor to call this session and rewrite your story. Because I'll tell you that the Florida room is a little bit dirty. And I can tell you this because I slept on the floor. I can tell you this because millions of our generation started from the bottom, now we're here. And though Rick Scott may try to convince us otherwise, that we truly are the best kids in the world growing up in the maddest of cities. And today we've come together to fix this house and ensure that Disney is not the only place where dreams come true for young people. This is not a black issue. This is not a brown issue. This is not an anything in between issue. This is not a straight issue. This is not a gay issue. This is a human issue. And so we must come together as human beings and come together and eschew the most American of values, those inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so I ask all of you to join us and lay out a welcome mat once again and say, come all, be heavy laden. Come all ye burdened. Come all ye marginalized. There's no need to run through the back door because the door is open for you. There's no need to cry anymore. For weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. So we've come together with a vision for a better Florida and hopefully a better America. And so I started this with a story. To let you all know that the story of the Dream Defenders, the story of young people, the story of our people is being written today. As we speak. With every step, with every night you lay on the floor, a chapter is being written. With every time you raise up your voice, a chapter is being written. With every time you stand in solidarity with somebody that doesn't look like you and see humanity in somebody across the aisle, a chapter is being rewritten in the history of our country. Talk about it. So let's do it together. Let's work together. There's a lot of work to do. But we're the only people that can do it. So thank you all for being here, not from me, and not just from our heroes who have fought for years, but for the future generations of Florida. Because the house of America today we inherited. But the house of tomorrow we can build to be stronger, better, faster, on solid ground, and really be the America that we all dream of. Thank you. Call the session!